playing or setting it up yet. But I thought this morning you might like to listen to the birds while we do a Bible study. It's about 5:30 here. I decided to get up early because I've been oversleeping a lot and it's been making me feel pretty rotten. But I do feel a lot better. This cement candle holder was made by a friend who does a lot of trying to work out how to get it shot. There we go. Cement work. It's just polished cement in a mold. You put it in the mold, put some pretty rocks in it. Use different colours of cement and polish it up. It's very nice. Okay, so I've got some coffee. Because who doesn't need coffee at 5 a.m? I will be reading and I encourage you to follow along. I will be reading from the English Standard Version by Crossway. I also have the Moody Bible commentary. I am already loving how huge this desk is. It's just ginormous. I've made a mess of it already, but that can be fixed. Now, my husband and I have been reading the Chronicles of Narnia, and we just got to the part where Aslan is killed and is raised from the dead, and it's just really beautiful how it's written. I feel like C.S. Lewis has a very, very thorough understanding of God's character, and it is helping to shift my perceptions of who Jesus is. I mean, it's very easy to read Jesus in a tone of voice that is not true to him. So I've been reading the book of Luke. So today I'd like to read from Luke chapter 22, verse 39 to 62. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read out loud. I encourage you to grab your own Bible to read these sections, or you can just relax to the sound of this video and come back to it later. Move your ears a bit. This section, I think, prior to reading Chronicles of Narnia, I always read this section as just something that happened, and because of my own experiences, I would read Jesus as more of a a brave, loveless kind of character, even though he's saying, take this cup away from me. And then because he was, in so much distress, his sweat became like great drops of blood falling to the ground. When he rose from prayer, he came to the disciples and he found them sleeping for sorrow, and all of this, I managed to read it in a very factual way without any emotion about it, but C.S. Lewis portrays Jesus very much as a gentle giant, someone with great power, with great ability to use great power, but who chooses not to out of love and kindness. There's a bit that stands out to me. There's two. The servant, one of Jesus' followers, strikes the servant of the high priest and cuts off his right ear. Jesus' response was to say, "No more of this." And he touched the person's ear and he healed him. That stands out to me because previously I would have read that "no more of this" as like a snap, a disciplinary put down kind of thing, but now I'm reading it and I'm like, no, that's Jesus saying, okay, no, I'm finished. I'm not fighting. I'm just gonna go. And then he heals the person who came to take him out of love and grace and mercy. The other part is Peter denies God. He denies knowing Jesus 3 times like Jesus said he would. And the last time it says, "But Peter said, 'Man, I did not know what you're talking about.' And immediately while he was still speaking, the rooster crowed. And immediately the Lord turned and looked at Peter. And Peter remembered the saying of the Lord, how he'd said to him, 'Before the rooster crows today, you'll deny me 3 times. And he went out and he wept bitterly." Just that part where it says, "And the Lord turned and looked at Peter." Hey. Sorry, my husband just got up. Normally he sleeps in on the holidays, but apparently today he could not sleep in. I just realised there's like someone's written on this desk. Oh my goodness. The top's very worn, so I have to replace it anyway. Where were we? It says, "And the Lord turned to look at Peter." I always kind of imagined it to be an accusing look or that kind of thing, but now that I stop and I think about it in terms of Jesus' character and God's character. I imagine it to be more of a sad look, not judging or condemning, just sad. Okay, so I want to look these things up in the Moody commentary. The Moody Commentary is a 1-volume commentary on the whole Bible by the faculty of Moody Bible Institute. It's actually really good for wanting to know things like the context of verses or the historical side of things. It has commentary on the different religious views of some of the verses. Book 22. The verse about the sweat becoming like blood is interesting. Okay. His sweat became like drops of blood, verse 44. This may be an instance noted only by Luke, who was a physician, of hematidrosis, a condition that occurs when one is under great stress. I believe that is when you literally sweat blood. However, Luke said Jesus' perspiration was like blood, using a comparative particle. The phrase probably indicates simply a comparison meant to indicate the intensity of Jesus' effort. It produced profuse or dripping sweat. The intensity of the prayer affected him spiritually as well, so much that an angel from heaven arrived to strengthen him. Okay. Just looking for anything interesting that isn't too obvious. Here we go. 22 verse 60 to 62 commentary. While the words of denial were being spoken, Peter saying, "Oh man, I do not know what you're talking about," Peter heard the crow of a rooster. At that instant the Lord turned and looked at Peter. One can only imagine the searing pain of conscience that swept over Peter at that moment as Peter recalled Jesus' words spoken only hours before. He went out and wept bitterly. The effect on Peter was shattering, notes Morris in their commentary. As difficult as this scene is to read, it serves not only to reassure readers of the veracity, it's got one of those line breaks with the dash, veracity and accuracy of the narrative as a whole. It also served to teach that restoration, even after the most egregious failures, is possible. The gospel writer spared no one's reputation so as to tell the story completely and faithfully. A lot of the time when we're doing Bible study, we're tempted to find how this impacts me, or find how does this apply to my life. Sometimes we don't need to do that. Sometimes the point is not about us. Sometimes it's sitting with the story and knowing what Jesus has done for us as his people, for the whole of creation, knowing the sacrifices he's made. Sometimes we don't need an action point or to water the faith down into a really silly seeming action point in the grand scheme of what God has done. Sometimes it's just reading a verse and sitting with it and feeling it in your heart and your soul, and knowing that someone died for you and that no one is perfect, and without Jesus we are nothing, and we cannot save ourselves. Okay. That brings me to the end of today's Bible study. I used to do a lot of highlighting, a lot of notes. Sometimes I'll make some notes in the margin of the Bible now, but I don't really do the rest of it. I don't have a huge amount of spare time, and sometimes writing notes and stuff can help us remember, but you're never going to read back over those notes. Probably, it's unlikely you're going to read back. So, I am just sitting with the words and allowing them to hit my heart. So yeah, that brings me to the end of today. I hope that you found this interesting or enlightening. I hope that it touched your heart as much as mine. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay, bye bye.